This will be the first time our next guest has been on the show, and we will not mention the word Romans. Right?
That's true.
Or the
It is
Phoenicians.
true. Or the Phoenicians. We're talking Niagara, beautiful region for winemaking and for wine lovers. Rob Statham joins us. He is wine consultant and broker with Tour de Force Wines. Welcome, Rob. Great to have you back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back.
Niagara.
Yes.
You got to
Niagara.
sink your teeth into that one, and I think you probably might have surprised yourself with some of the things you found out about
Quite a
the
bit.
region, right?
Well, yes. I mean, we're going to feature a little bit about the history of Niagara and then get into this excellent boutique winery in Creekside Estate Wineries located in Jordan, Ontario.
Very
which
nice.
is actually in the Creek Shores sub-appellation, which is quite cool.
So let's talk Niagara. It dates back to about, I think you said 1811, but the
1811.
modern era didn't start till the 70s, right?
That's right. Well, it was a German that had brought over the grapes from Pennsylvania. It was a hybrid called Labrusca that he had transferred over some cuttings, and they planted it along a riverbed near Cooksville, Ontario, which is now present-day Mississauga. So as the Credit River, it was planted along, and that was initially the first plantings of grapes ever in Ontario. And then we move into 1973, we get into the whole modern era itself, with Inniskillen being the first winery since Prohibition.
Right.
Since 1916 to
Wow.
actually build a winery. And then from there, there's just been a steady explosion. And a lot of it has to do really with how well we've done with ice wine, particularly in the early 90s, that just brought an exponential amount of exposure to the region.
Are we on the map now?
We're on the map.
As far as the
And not
world?
in a bad way, because
Yeah.
for
No,
a
we're
long
definitely
time
on
the
the map.
Niagara thing was,
Definitely.
it was a little dodgy. But
So why is that such a great winemaking region, that area?
Well, a lot of it has to do with the lake effect. You're looking
Okay.
at 43 degrees north latitude, so it's right in that major wine-producing belt in the world. Everything's really located between 30 and 50 degrees,
Okay.
as long as climate change doesn't affect a whole lot, but
Right.
it probably will. So it's in the same region in latitude as Burgundy.
Okay.
And what happens
Interesting.
is that with it, because of the Great Lakes, and what you have is the Iroquois Plain, and then just the Niagara Escarpment, which is this. All these are massive factors that are responsible for viticulture in the region. And what happens is in the spring, you have cool air coming off the lakeshore, so it allows the bud burst to come in a little late, so it skips the frost.
Okay.
And then in the fall, it has the opposite effect. It warms the region and it lengthens the growing season well into late October.
yeah, that was one of the things I was so interested to see, that we actually have more growing days than many of the
The
leading
Napa.
wine regions.
Think about that. Napa or the
incredible.
southern Okanagan. It's incredible.
Right.
So, I mean, it being such a young region, do they specialize in any particular type of wine? Are we, outside of ice wine? Are we
there's
known?
46 different varietals because the soil types are so diverse, and it goes back all to glacial and interglacial activities some 200,000 years ago. So you have limestone, you have clay, and you have sandy silt soils, which really allow, I think it's 46 different varietals to grow, which is incredible.
No kidding.
And going along into, just to talk a little bit about this winery. Creekside, my friends at Creekside, an excellent winery, a boutique winery, started in 1997 with the McCain family.
Right.
The
the
McCain food
McCains,
magnates.
Yeah.
Laura
French
McCain
fries.
bought a 15-acre plot, 4 kilometers away from Jordan, Ontario.
Okay.
And then by 2000, they were producing grapes like Syrah, Viognier, and Sauvignon Blanc, which were unheard of in the region. There's more Merlot, Cab Franc, Chardonnay. These are the kind of wines that we really typify with this region in Niagara, the Creek Shore region itself. And what had happened was they had purchased another plot in St. David's Bench. So you're getting into more clay soils. It's more sandy and alluvial soils.
Okay.
In Creek Shore, it's pretty flat. And the vineyards sit just above the floodplain. It's surrounded by 3 sides of water.
Okay.
And most of these regions are within 20 kilometers of Lake Ontario and the escarpment itself. You get into St. David's Bench, it's part of that Niagara-on-the-Lake subregion or appellation that's west of St. Catharines. Most of it's grown along the bluffs. And that's where they garnish all the grapes. And winemaker Rob Power has done a brilliant job putting together some of these wines, especially the broken press Syrah.
Well, describe to, I don't think I've ever had a Syrah before. What are the tasting notes of a Syrah?
Well, Syrah is very bold. There's pepper, there's a bit of mint, there's a lot of black fruit, there's a lot of black currant, ripe black cherry. It's a very heavy tannic one. In fact, you can just try it. It's absolutely delicious. This one has won international awards. It was recently a silver medalist at the Intervin International Awards in 2015. Rob Power himself was Winemaker of the Year in 2008 in Ontario.
Oh, wow.
So you're looking at somebody with excellence and brilliance. And what they've done here is they've taken Syrah, which is 96% Syrah, with Viognier, and done it in a Northern Rhone style. So they brought French wine effectively to Ontario, which nobody's ever done.
Wow.
And you're looking at wines, this wine's rated over 90 points consistently year in, year out. Now, 2012, the vintage was brilliant. We had perfect weather for it. It was dry during most of the growing season. We had just enough rain into the fall, tons of sunshine, and the area has, I think, 208 frost-free days in the year. It was extended even longer in 2012. So these two wines, and the Laura's Red is another excellent wine that they've produced. It's a blend of 6 grapes. This one retails for $43. This one's $20. They're both small batches. You're looking at 210 cases of this ever made.
Wow, that's
annually.
That's not much, yeah.
After 20 months of bathing, or it's actually aging in oak barrels. This one, you're looking at a $20 bottle, and there's about 2,000 cases produced annually. This is more their signature easygoing wine. You're looking at a Syrah that is very robust. All these wines pair brilliantly with food.
So what would you pair this one with, the first one you described?
Grilled steak, Osco Busco, which is a dish with lamb, I believe. You could pair it with burgers, pizza.
I love a pizza wine. Seriously.
It's awesome.
Burger wine.
If you can find one, yeah.
And the beauty of these wines is because of the regions they grow in, you get diversity in flavor. And then if you go into the St. David's Bench, is one of the 10 key appellations, you're looking at sub-appellations in the Niagara Peninsula VQA, which is, by the way, the largest region, the VQA region, that was classified since 1988 in Canada. Yeah, so they've done a terrific job with these wines.
So you want to have us...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give
No, absolutely.
Now, someone
This
once
one is
told
really
me a
bold.
Syrah is another name for
Shiraz.
Shiraz.
That is correct.
Oh, really? So it's one and the same?
One and the same. The difference is one was transplanted to Australia, and they actually called their wines up to 2012 Shiraz. They changed it to Syrah because they developed it in the Northern Rhone or French style, the traditional style. Which is a splash of Viognier, which is white aromatic wine, in with the red.
You mentioned you're now representing with Tour de Force Wines.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what they do.
Well, it's a wine brokerage that started in London, England. It's recent. It's a family-owned operation, and what they're looking to do, and what we're looking to do, is actually expand upon wines, or import some wines into London, England, and export some product here as well.
Oh, interesting.
And there's going to be an event component built
And
as well.
not just wine too, right?
Spirits and beer.
There you go.
Well, we're having you back
Yeah,
for sure, Rob. Thanks so much for coming,
Hey, thanks
Rob.
for having me.
Always a
Thank
pleasure
you.
having you
Always.
on the show. Don't
Thank
go away.
you.
We'll be back with more right after this.